Hello and welcome back to Season 4 of the Fresh Finds Podcast, the show about discovering new music with good people. I'm Ryan, and joining me this episode at the Nain Rouge Brewery in Detroit, Michigan are the guys from Detroit's very own Cascade Riot. How are you guys doing today?
Yo! Doing swimmingly.
Lovely.
Great.
Do you guys want to go around and introduce yourselves, say what you do in the band, maybe give a little bit of background info?
I am Ryan. I play guitar and sing in the Cascade Riot band.
He's one of the songbirds of our generation.
As some say.
Some have said
Some
that.
have said.
Some have said he's a songbird of our generation.
That's really it. Let me pass it to
How
you.
about a little history?
Well,
Go around and introduce yourselves first. We'll get to that.
I
We'll get
want
to
to
that.
talk about him more.
We'll get into history. There's nothing to I sing, I
What
play
ye-
guitar.
What year were you born? What's your zone? No.
It's a
It's all
social
to
security
come.
number.
Yeah.
I'm
Bank
Nick.
routing number.
I play guitar. That's it.
Hard stop. I like it.
Adam, I'm the bass guy.
Bass guy.
Occasional vocals, but Nick's better at the vocals, so he's taking all my vocals
Sometimes.
now.
The bass guy. I like it. Humble.
The beautiful backing
Nick
vocals
said
of
guitar,
Nick and
that's
Adam.
it, but he lies. He does a lot of vocals, so.
So you guys actually started the band way back in like 2015 or something like that, right?
I'll let you dig into this, and then I'll interject.
I was not part of that.
Okay.
I got some stuff to say, but let him start.
We started Cascade Riot in 2015, but we've known each other since
Me and Ryan, that is.
Adam and I since 6th grade. And
Okay.
we actually played in a band together. Well, we played in bands together all through middle school and into high school. We could just never get it to work. And Alex, our drummer, who is not here, was also, the three of us played together when we were kids. But we were kids, man. We couldn't figure it out. It was high school.
Yeah,
Couldn't get it to last.
totally fair. Most people's bands that they start in high
Yeah.
school don't work out.
So we went our separate ways, and we came back together in 2015, and we're like, all right, let's do this for real. And
Okay.
that's when we started Cascade Riot. That's where when the name first appeared.
That's when the first EP came out.
That's when the EP came out.
Yeah.
Code Red came out in 2015. And so that's when we started it. We lasted for about a year at that point
Because of life.
because of life, as he says, before we went on a little hiatus again.
Okay.
And, just, again, he's true. Because of life, people had their jobs and life got in the way for a while. And then in 2022, we decided to get back. We were like, let's do this. Let's get back together. Let's do this. And we've been playing together consistently ever since. So it's a winding road, but it got us
If I can
here.
interject.
Absolutely.
He's going to.
whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
So, obviously, me and Alex are brothers, for those that don't know.
Is that obvious?
Well, we're brothers, but me and Nick have known each other for, I would say, probably 10 years.
People usually think that me and Adam are brothers.
Yeah, we're very similar.
Sometimes they think we're the same person.
But,
We'll get into the first time I came around.
But yeah,
in a little
me and
bit.
Nick have kind of known each other for 10 years, and we've talked on and off. Me and him played in a band earlier, and we've
right
always...
before Cascade Riot.
Right before Cascade Riot. Me and him have always stayed in communication because we've always wanted to do something together, and life is weird, and now he's here, so it's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, and fast forward a few years when I came into the picture, these guys opened up for Billy Talent.
Oh, I think I remember seeing that post on like Instagram or something like that. Yeah.
And this guy, he contacts me. He's like, hey, would you be able to, like, because he knows I do like photography and video and stuff. He's like, would you be able to, capture some shots at the show? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I'll be there. So I showed up, and that, like I said, people thought I was him after they had already played. I was, standing in line to get a drink,
Because
talking
you're so
to people.
good looking.
Yeah, and people were. And people were like, "Oh, like, man, you did great up there." And I'm like,
You shredded
I
on the
wasn't
bass,
up there.
man.
Yeah, that was not me. I was taking photos. Well, I didn't say that. I was like, "Yeah, thanks." And then they were like, "Let me buy you a drink." And I was like, "Okay." And
I'll take it. Yeah.
but that was the first time that they kind of called me in, and we kind of, they were like, "Oh, there's chemistry here," even though I was just taking photos. But they were
We
like,
all kind of knew at that point.
Sure.
so they had this feeling, and then like maybe I don't know. Few weeks later, I got a text message from this guy, and he's like, "Hey, do you still play guitar? And are you interested in joining?" And the rest is history.
As they say, is history. So
as they say.
flash forward a little bit, we get to about a year ago now. You guys released Page Not Found, which was your first EP post hiatus, post getting back together.
Yep.
Like I said, almost a year of that project so far.
That's true, isn't it? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, me neither.
What year was that?
It was last
That
year.
was last year.
Last May.
Yeah. So, like, how much do you think that has kind of, like, changed the trajectory? Releasing that project has kind of, like, changed the trajectory of all of this for you over the last year?
I mean, we needed something to... We'd released a few singles before that, after coming back. The EP was the first kind of, package release.
Yeah, the first bigger project.
The first bigger project. And we saw it as something we needed to do because it's like, we're back, we got to get material out. And I think we got more show opportunities from releasing that thing. And it really did help get the name out. I don't think that we would have, like the Billy Talent show that Nick mentioned. I mean, we wouldn't have had that had we not released that EP.
Yeah.
So things like that. You put material out and you hope it gets noticed, and the material is what opens the doors, Just having stuff
totally.
out.
And the great thing about releasing it too is if people connect with it like they clearly have, because I mean you guys keep getting opportunities with this, like you releasing more of the music, more people know the stuff. The shows are just better because people have like a better vibe going in. They can sing along to all the songs and stuff.
Yeah. Like another cool thing is we got an email a few months after that EP came out saying, "Hey, came across your EP on Bandcamp. We want you to come to Toronto and we'll pay for you to come up and play a show here in Toronto." And it was like just because they happened to come across that EP.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know what I mean? You put stuff out and you hope people notice it. And if they do, there it is. It opens doors.
It's like a resume.
It is like a resume.
Yeah.
It's like a resume builder. And I think that EP in particular was kind of a continuation, at least that's how I see it. I'd be curious what you think. Of kind of like what we'd been doing before that. It was kind of like...
Kind of bounce off of him, and I think Al would say the same. It's kind of just like what we were familiar with and what we're used to. But I'd say now that Nick's here, we're really...
Changing the game.
You people will see. You'll see.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves because we do have another release that came out after Page Not Found.
I was going to say, moving forward, 2024 kind of feels like the year of Cascade Riot.
Ooh.
Because, I mean...
Did you hear that?
The end of January, beginning of February, you guys relieved Life on Venus.
Yes.
As well as, like I said, you've been playing shows at least once a month, maybe even a little bit more around the Detroit area, getting some more opportunities like the Billy Talent gig. And as far as I understand, you guys are also currently writing or have written the first full length as well. Is that correct?
So pretty much there's about 10 songs that are there. I don't want to get too crazy with it. I'll let him go too. But we're trucking along. So
we have the songs written. We are actively recording a full-length album right now.
Nice.
That is true.
And then not only that, too, you guys are working on that. You also got announced a couple months ago that you guys are playing Excellency up in Bay City as well.
Which is excellent.
Excellent. But honestly, as far as like DIY kind of centric festivals in Michigan goes, like that's one of the bigger ones. So like big ups to you guys for getting on that too. That's another part of the reason why I think 2024 is just kind of like your guys' year,
You're the man, Ryan.
We hope so.
Thank you.
You're the man. Yeah, we were super excited to be a part of that, and I still don't even know how that happened. We got an email asking us if we wanted to be a part of it, and we were like, yeah, absolutely, we want to be a part of it.
Oh, hell yeah.
There's so many great bands on that lineup too.
Oh,
Shout
yeah.
out to Troy.
Troy Excellency.
That's the guy
Yes.
right there. Just saying.
He's just saying.
Hey,
So-
the guy did an excellent job at the Pike Room. That's why I want to say it. So
Yeah.
for whoever was there, it was very fun. Thank you.
So going back to Life on Venus, that is your most recent release as of right now. I've been bumping it all week, getting ready for this, listening to it.
I like that someone's bumping it.
Yeah. I got it cranked loud, man.
Besides me.
Yeah. So, like, what was kind of going into that? Like you kind of mentioned that, like, you're progressing from your sound a little bit. Like, even just production-wise, I know that the member that actually produces you guys isn't actually around right now. But, like, to me, listening to the two EPs back-to-back, Life on Venus just sounds fuller. It sounds more complete to me, as well as like the songs just feel really good. Like it feels like you guys stepped up.
Well, thank you. Yeah. As like you said, Alex, our drummer, produces our stuff, and he's a student of the game. Like, he's always just finding ways to improve the production. And I think that's part of the difference between the two sound-wise, sonically anyway. Song-wise, I mean, yeah. That's kind of what I meant earlier with Page Not Found. I felt like we were just kind of continuing what we'd been doing years ago. It was just a continuation.
Sure.
And going into Life on Venus, we really wanted to expand on that. Like, I mean, I think we went into it. We talked about it at the time. Like, let's like stay in this lane we're in, but like let's expand on it. You know, add some new textures and try some different things. And ultimately, that's what led to Nick being in the band too, because we tried some different guitar things, and we realized at the time, like, I don't want to fall asleep off of that EP.
Yeah.
At the end, there's this lead lick that I played on the recording, but we talked at the time. It was like, well, how are we going to do this live? Like, we want it to sound full.
Yeah.
And so I think even then, like the seeds were planted of bringing this guy in. But it's that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, let's expand on what we're doing here. There was an effort to do that on that EP.
It also feels like the lyrics are a little bit more mature on this one, a little bit more thought out. Not to say that the other ones weren't thought out, but the other ones were a lot more of like kind of your standard pop punk fare. I feel like this project gets a little bit existential, a little bit like thinking back and like just kind of thinking about your life.
No, I think that's totally fair. Yeah, because we just the first one, like I said, we had the songs on Page Not Found and we kind of banged it out, and then for the second one, Life on Venus, it was like let's take our time and really dig into things a little more. And lyrically, it requires a vulnerability too to kind of
100%,
to put that kind of stuff out there. So I mean, that was an effort, because I write the lyrics, and it was like, all right, I'm gonna let myself say some of these things.
Well, and it's kind of weird too, like especially like you're not making music specifically for these people, but it's like your relatives, your parents, like people like that hear this music, and it's like kind of things that maybe you wouldn't have even brought up with them regularly, right. and they're hearing it almost from like a third source. Yeah. And so like it's a weird vulnerability there that you have to be okay with.
You do have to be okay with it. And there's really, you're right, you're exactly right. You just have to, like, I'm just doing this. It is what it's going out there. I'm sending it out into the world. I don't really care. It's out there. Let's go. And that's what we did with this one. And, again, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I think we dig into that even more on this new stuff we're working on.
I like it.
I'd like to add, if I could.
No.
You have my blessing.
If you could. No, I think we finally realized, and I'm speaking for Nick now too, that he's in the band.
Sure. Go for it.
That we all bring something different to the table instead of locking ourselves into that one thing. Like, we all learn stuff about each other every single day. Like, oh, you like that, and you like that. Well, what? You know what I mean? Like, we all drive from different places.
We also disappoint each other every single day.
Yeah. We find new ways to disappoint each other.
Maybe once in a while. No, I'm just kidding. But, we all come from different backgrounds. We all like to listen to different shit. And it's gotten to the point where we just trust each other now. To where, like, even him or me or Ryan or Al, whatever part they're bringing to the band, like, we know it's 9 times out of 10 it's gonna work, and it's gonna sound fucking cool, and it's gonna sound like us.
Yeah,
not like anybody
I
else.
like that.
So that's where I'm at with it. I'm glad we finally got to that point, because like he said, we were kind of just continuing on the same path. But especially with the new stuff, I feel like there's the fork in the road. We took the way we're not supposed to, and it sounded really cool.
Sure.
So.
And it's talking about the new stuff. It always feels weird talking about stuff that nobody's heard yet. But like even just Life on Venus, I'll focus on that. More of the differences. It was like, God, even like, so Al, our drummer, is also a guitar player. And so he'll come up with ideas sometimes, and actually Cobwebs off that EP musically was an idea that came from him.
Oh, okay.
And I worked with him to finish that lyrically.
We should pay him more.
Yeah. Give him
anything.
We worked together to help finish that, and that's the first time that we'd ever done anything like that, because it's usually me just bringing in the songs. And so that was something new. We start off that EP with a PNC, which I think is probably the most similar to the older stuff that we've done.
I would agree with that.
And that was kind of the reason we started with that song too, because it was like, okay, here's kind of what we were, and now here's where we're going, or what we are now.
You're like dipping your toes in the water,
yeah,
and then now we're gonna fully jump in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest departure on that EP was probably Chasing Stars. I think that's probably the most different from what we'd done.
And that's my favorite song on the project.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it feels the most unique, the most interesting to me, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was we hadn't done anything like that up until that point, and it definitely stands out for that reason to me. It's a little more.
That's another one Al grabbed by the balls.
How so?
Remember, he like flipped it on its heels. Remember when we were sitting there and he's like, I have this shit for it. Take a listen. And we were just like, whoa.
Al brings a production element to it, you know? So you have the song, and then a lot of times he can see the final vision.
He thinks
for
like a
it.
producer.
Yeah.
I totally get that for sure.
So for that one, it was.
I feel like we're just doing an Al plug.
It's a big Al. This is
We
just
gotta make up
if
for
you're
him.
in
He's not
if
here.
you're in a Detroit area band, contact Al. I won't list his phone number.
Big
but
Al's Toy Barn.
the guy's got an ear for music. Contact him. Thank you.
I like it.
Yeah, so like that song was a little more atmospheric. There was a little more texture to it. And that's actually one of the songs that, because we were almost finished recording that EP when Nick joined the band, technically. So Nick came in at the tail end of that, and Nick actually plays some acoustic guitar on that song. So there's another fact. Because by then, we had asked him to join the band, and he was kind of hanging around for the final sessions, and it was like, let's get this guy on here.
Yeah.
And so I remember we
I
shoved
didn't
an
want to
acoustic
impose,
guitar.
but like, because I was like, the thoughts,
We
everything's
made
kind
you.
of already thought out, and I was already digging everything I was hearing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. But they talked me into it.
It's interesting. This is the second
I'm there.
episode in a row where one of the members of the band wasn't actually in the band for most of the writing of the most recent project. And so it's interesting kind of hearing that perspective where you are kind of seeing it from like the outside, but are still able to have like a little bit of like creative input one way or the other, and like how you choose to like use that, you know?
And he did. I mean, like when we were recording, I mean, you had input on what we were doing.
Yeah.
It's weird to say, but I feel like the songs are still evolving.
Oh, they are.
He comes up with shit all the time. He'll
But
be like,
that's the
I'm going to do
interesting
this
thing.
live. Okay,
Because,
fine.
I mean, there's the way we did it in the studio, but
Yeah.
you go see it live with this other guitar player who wasn't in the band at the time. He adds something to it.
And now if I like hear one of the songs without like the part that I play live, it kind of bumps me out. Not to like toot my own horn or anything,
I
but
think
like
that's the interesting thing about music, though, is the fact that even after it's recorded and put out, it continues to evolve when you play it live, or when somebody does a cover of it, or a remix, or, you know, any of these ways. I forget where I first heard the term, but the act of doing music or musicking actively changes the way that a song exists. And I think that that's really interesting.
I would agree with that. Because there's songs we play live, and it's like the more we play it, the song just it feels different each time you play it, and you find new ways of playing it, different interpretations.
Sure.
well, like live now, our live Wall has that solo now that I just threw.
That's
in
what I was
there.
thinking about.
And
yeah,
like
Wall.
anytime that song, like anytime I play it on the recording, I'm just kind of like, oh, like I can hear the solo, but it's not actually there.
I see what you're saying, though. I get off on that shit when I go see my favorite bands live, and like the live version's different.
It's a little
from
bit
the
different.
studio.
Yeah.
It's like,
Sometimes
dude,
it's better.
I wish I had the live version to listen
there
to.
are things I'll do just in the moment when we're playing live. It's like, I'm gonna do this little lick here.
Yeah, I noticed that
Yeah.
too.
It wasn't on the recording, but it's what I'm feeling right
Just
now.
fun little
and you
things.
just throw it in there.
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
maybe it becomes a each time you play it, maybe you want that lick to be there, maybe you don't. But you try things and see how it feels in the moment.
Yeah, so preparing for this episode, I listened to your guys' episode of Five at the Door with Christy. Shout out my guy.
Good dude.
Yes.
Fantastic.
You know, there's been all of the people picking out like, oh yeah, huge Green Day influence, huge Foo Fighters influence, you know, all of that kind of like classic stuff from that era. What's some stuff that influenced this music that people might not pick up on right away? Some stuff that people might not think about.
Let me jump in there.
All right, yeah.
Can I?
I like that something just went straight to the dome.
Listen, so I'll speak for all four of us. Nick, I don't know where he really stands, but he can jump in if he wants. We're huge Kiss guys.
Okay, interesting.
I'm definitely huge into Kiss.
We're huge Kiss guys.
Grew up with it.
Me and Ryan were classic rock snobs growing up. Al was a classic rock snob
me too,
growing
yep.
up. Pretty
Led
sure
Zeppelin,
he was.
learning
So, like,
guitar. Led Zeppelin
Yeah.
taught me everything I needed to know.
Yeah.
anything,
AC/DC.
Yeah. I don't know. People may not hear it, but sometimes I feel like that like nostalgic, like over the top classic rock sound comes through in some of his like vocal melodies or sometimes the riffs because we're inspired by all that shit.
Sometimes when we cover Lick It Up live,
No, for real.
One of the things that I
It's not a joke.
kind of just thought of as far as like you know the kind of like more theatrical kind of like classic rock type stuff that you were talking about, and this isn't even on the new EP, but Destination Nowhere off of Page Not Found, the way that there's like that very dramatic tempo, like downward tempo shift at the very
Exactly.
end, like I kind of pick up on that there, where it's like there's that big like it just makes it very theatrical, very over the top in that moment.
I mean,
tells a story.
it's kind of embarrassing, but I mean, like,
Whoa, watch it.
I'm just saying that's like when we were kids, that's all we did. Classic rock. We looked up to these guys.
Oh, yeah.
So you know,
You know how it is, man. You're a guitar
Kiss,
player.
AC/DC,
Yeah.
Aerosmith.
You get a guitar. There's those riffs. There's those songs that
You're like,
into.
I'm gonna learn Iron Man,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna learn Smoke on the Water.
Alice
Yeah.
Cooper,
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin. I mean, me and him would just sit there, and when CDs burning was a thing, we would just burn CDs like all day long. Like this is
Shout out to my boy Keith Richards.
Rolling Stones.
My boy.
It's interesting to me actually thinking about this, because it's like I think that you guys are some of the first people that I've interviewed that actually, like, as far as influences, are very close to like what I pull on, like when I write music and stuff like that, because it is kind of like, I don't know, I didn't get into like modern rock and like, you know, the modern emo or pop punk scenes or anything like that until I got older. Like, you know, I originally am from the Upper Peninsula, way up north, and so like,
Where at?
you know, Sault Ste. Marie area.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And so, like, you know, around there, people just listen to classic rock. You know, it's all around. It's what plays in the bars. It's what plays on the radios, all that stuff. And so I think that that's interesting that, you know, that's just kind of an influence for certain people who maybe didn't get into, like, the modern, like, trendy rock music, quote unquote,
I would
quite
take it
as
as
early.
far as saying like the classic rock bands, the classic punk bands, you know, the Foo Fighters, the Green Days, the Bad Religions, the Kiss, all that. That's probably the foundation.
I like it.
And then, you know, you build it from there. This guy's chomping at the bit.
No, I'm not. I'm enjoying the answer. Say more. Do you have anything?
Say more
No,
now.
go for it.
No, I mean, it's true. It is the foundation. And it was a gateway. Those bands were a gateway because now you're interested in rock music.
Yeah.
And now it's like, so what does this lead to? And, you know, you mentioned Green Day. Yeah, we're all big Green Day fans. And like for me, Green Day was a gateway to other punk bands and more alternative music. And so everything just kind of leads to another. And, you know, yeah, more recently, what's interesting to me is really getting this band going again. That's when I got exposed to a lot of what's going on now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like if you're in the, you know, on the Twitter sphere, you're exposed to it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, your full-blown meltdowns of the world.
Yeah, of course. Shout out.
Shout out to Will.
What's interesting to me is these bands that are taking the sound that we grew up listening to and they're using it as like the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It makes
So-
me feel old.
It makes me feel
That is
old, but
fair.
it also, I was telling him the other day, Ryan, I was like, it actually kind of inspires me because it's like, that's what I like to do.
It's nice
That's
that
what
it's
I like
still
to hear.
there.
It
you know?
like-
Oh, yeah,
I
for
like
sure.
that there's newer bands out there that are like, fuck, man, Foo Fighters are fucking cool. Green Day's fucking cool. Like,
It's interesting. I feel like with a lot of those bands, there's kind of like, you know, they're really popular for a while, and then everybody just kind of turns on them. Like they got too popular. Like Green Day is
Yeah.
kind of a prime example of that.
popular
like,
and too
you know,
shitty.
they got massive up until like American Idiot, and then like after that, like it became cool to hate Green Day, and
Yep,
I
then
agree
and then
with that.
now it's kind of like coming back again, where people are like, no, yeah, Green Day is like
I think that's
cool.
kind of the way. I mean, whenever a band gets really successful, which is kind of what happened with Green Day around American Idiot, they became mega. They'd been
They
big,
became
but now they're
sellouts. Yeah.
International super hits.
And
Yeah.
and everybody wants to hate on the sellout or the perceived sellouts and the people that have the mega success. It's like they're not, they lose some of that cool factor, I think, in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that happens though. Like this band that you like so much like becomes successful and big and brings in this new audiences, and suddenly everybody like hates on them or hates on the like fans that came in later.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid, but like I've been on both sides of that.
I try to check myself sometimes because like I know that there have been bands that I really like that they've released a new album that's been bigger than anything else, and I'm like, I don't think it's as good as the other stuff, and I'm like, am I just being a hater because they're like getting popular, or is it actually like, do I not really fuck with it as much as the older stuff?
I've done the same thing.
And sometimes I feel like I need to check myself when it comes to
The
that type
problem
of thing.
I have with it is like, what do you want these bands to? What do you want them to do? Do you just want them to stay at that?
Toil in obscurity forever.
Do you want
and
them
then
to stay
die
at the
young.
below sea level, or do you want them to succeed so they live on forever?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I mean-
too, there's bands that like will release like the same album almost again and again and again and again, and you just kind of lose interest, and you don't. I
But
don't know.
kind of like harkening back to what you said and kind of what he said, it's kind of just like, can a band, if you're a band, do you really want to stay DIY forever? Like, just be honest with yourself.
Well, and that's the thing, because if you're staying DIY, then you're very much limiting how successful you can be, how much money you can make. It like even whether you can be able to do it full time or not.
And I'm not saying it's about the money, but it's all about bringing it to to me, it's bringing it to the masses.
I think it's about
who doesn't want to play for 50,000 people.
I think it's what your goals are, because I do think that there are some bands that are totally content staying DIY.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's valid if that's what you want to do. I know, speaking for us though, we want to get this music out to as many people as possible. And I mean, that's it. I don't think we think about it. It's just we want as many people to hear this as possible.
I think I speak for everyone in the band. It is our life, and we want it to be our lives. So
Oh, 100%. I
that's where
like
I'm
that
at.
a lot.
So.
Yeah. And that's the only thing I could say. Like, there is people out there where they're like, I don't have enough time to devote to this, and then like they won't take it as seriously as other people.
If you
and,
love it, you can make it work.
yeah,
Yeah, what is it? You'll make time for the things that matter to you.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
But
exactly.
and that's kind of what like the whole DIY thing is about. Is it doesn't really matter if it's successful or not. It's kind of you're just doing it.
Yeah, doing it to do it because
That's
you
what you
like
enjoy
to do it.
doing.
Yeah, exactly.
We would be doing it no matter what at this point.
Yeah.
Especially going so long having not done it. So to come back together, it was like, wow, not only did we miss this, we love this, and we're just going to keep doing this no matter what. We want people to hear it. It's, like I said, as many people as possible, but even if there's only 10 people that hear it,
That's
this is
still
still
people.
what we're going to do.
That's still
Absence
people.
makes the
10
heart grow
people.
fonder, I feel like. And
heard it
that's
here.
kind of like what you guys were, feeling when you weren't doing this for,
And
however many
old
years.
age brings pressure.
And like if we have
Motorcycle.
10 people that are diehard fans of us, we will keep playing just for those.
I like it.
Just to make them happy.
I like it.
I agree.
So one of the things that I'm kind of interested in, this was another thing that on the 5 at the Door episode kind of got hit on a little bit, but then it didn't go as far as I wanted it to, and so I want to bring it back up again, which is kind of like the city of Detroit, the Detroit music scene, because like I said, I'm not from here originally. You guys are all from the area, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So it seems interesting to me. Detroit has a weird scene right now, I feel like,
I
because
agree.
there are a ton of bands, a ton of venues, but it feels like everybody who is active, nobody's talking about the same bands. There's not one band that's kind of like rising up and like championing Detroit as being they're the Detroit band that's going to put Detroit back on the map. There's a ton of bands that are doing great stuff and kind of like, just bubbling under the surface. And I'm just kind of curious if you guys have any insight onto, has it kind of always been that way? My theory, having been here only a couple of years, is that part of it is that the Detroit metro area is so damn spread out.
Let me take this one for a minute.
Yeah.
Take this one.
So like, I've been in bands for a while, whatever. I feel like here it's more, please, everyone could just strike me down if I'm wrong. But
Oh, and I will.
I feel like there's a lot of hardcore,
There is, yeah.
which is fine. It's totally fine because Detroit, I guess, is the hard city, whatever. But there's a lot of hardcore, and there's good bands in the hardcore scene here. You know, Bad Beat, they just put out an LP today, and it's actually fucking sweet. So listen to it.
I'm going to check that out later.
16 songs, and the album's only like 13 minutes. It's badass. But yeah, I feel like it leans towards more one thing, and people just aren't catching on, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. That they're just not venturing out.
See,
Interesting.
And my take is that there's so much different stuff.
See, that was kind of what I was thinking, because
And
I was like,
agree
everything's
with
so
that, and
so
maybe-
spread out.
Like you said,
'cause-
it's spread out, but there's also so much different stuff going on that it's hard for everything to coalesce into. Like,
yeah.
And back to the hardcore thing, like there's a lot of people that are doing awesome things with hardcore, but that's not the only thing we have to offer here.
Yeah, I mean, there's great blues rock bands.
There's
great
blues, there's hip-hop,
funk rock
there's
bands.
jazz
There's,
bands.
there's great hip hop
Yes.
everywhere. Garage bands, you know, like all that kind of stuff.
So yeah,
We're a
we need-
music city. We are.
We are.
Exactly, and
We're
and
the
I
motor
think,
city, but we're also the music city.
and that's the thing is, I think that it doesn't really cater to one style,
That's-
which is kind of its undoing in a way.
That's what I'm saying. Because how does one thing rise to the top when you have so many things competing?
Yeah.
It's weird. I hate to say it like this, but like over here, I feel like it's a mixed bag. But when you go west, it's more of like that new modern emo stuff.
Yeah.
So it's
think,
weird
well, when you
how
go-
like when you take the state and split it in half, it's just like that's just kind of how it is.
You know, because when you go the further out west you get, now you're headed toward Chicago and Wisconsin, and there's like so many bands out there that are just killing it right now. Like he said, even in the emo scene. And you're right. I think in Detroit, Metro Detroit, there's just so much going on, and I think that is probably its undoing.
But there's
Yeah.
even me and him talk about all the time. Kickstand Productions. They're bringing some of the weird. Like I mean this in a good way. They're bringing shit I've never even heard of before, and the shows are packed in the Detroit area. Just like funk bands, pop bands, like synth pop, all this crap. It's like, and people are showing up. So it's like it's just weird, man.
Yeah, I feel like people in and around Detroit, how do you guys feel if I like say that? I feel like people in and around Detroit aren't like into just one genre, like diehard. Like you're kind of because we are exposed to all these different things.
Yeah.
we kind of find a love in all of them.
Well, I
don't
mean,
know, maybe
that's one of
just
the
some
things that I
BS
think
that I
about.
made up.
Like, I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with like Dally in the Alley.
Yep.
Yep.
And like that kind of stuff is it's like on one stage you'll have like a hip hop act followed by like a psychedelic blues rock act followed by like some weird like art pop stuff, and it's like everybody's just kind of into all of it.
And people will sit there and watch every one.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
weird because we played Taco Fest last year, and we were probably
You
the
were there.
Yeah, that was the first time we met.
It's weird because we were probably the harder band at Taco Fest, but if you look
Yeah.
at Detroit, we're probably one of the softer bands in the scene. So it's
Yeah.
We were like the hard shell taco.
Yeah.
like normally we're soft.
Well, maybe you are.
Whatever.
You-
You're the softest guy I know.
You do the double decker thing. You put the hard shell inside the soft shell.
An
We're
upper
the
decker?
cheesy gordita crunch of rock and roll, baby.
You heard it here first.
There you go. I like
Although
that.
I am a little, if I'm shaking a little bit, it's because I'm cold.
It's chilly here.
It's a little chilly where we're at.
Ryan's not just nervous and
No, I'm
visibly
not
shaking
nervous.
for the
I'm not
camera.
nervous.
He hasn't had enough Szechuan beer yet.
It's not as cold as when we filmed the Chasing Stars video, though.
Oh. You have no idea.
Oh boy, tell me about it.
That video. Hey, why don't you talk about that
I
one?
wasn't there.
Me and Ryan met up to shoot the video for Chasing Stars. We went to like this pier over on the east side,
Okay.
and it was like 20 degrees outside. But because of the wind chill, especially being on the water, like St. Clair just made it like negative 10 or something. We were.
And when did you put this out? Like March?
This was like February, I think.
February, yeah.
When did we shoot? Did we shoot that video in January?
I think we shot it in January and released it early February.
So
Around
it must
bad.
have been really
I-
cold.
like, at one
because
point
there was
we had
that
to get-
cold snap too.
Yeah.
That was like negative 20 for
And
a
I'm
little
like
bit.
very just cold in general, like
Sure.
not like personality wise, but well maybe, but but like
I won't say anything.
yeah, like we were out there and it was just free. Like there was a few times I'm like, I think my fingers are gonna fall off. I can't hit the buttons on my camera anymore.
Yeah,
And-
because I think it's. Have we said that yet? That Nick filmed that video.
oh yeah, I do that.
Nice.
He's our guy. The I don't want to fall asleep video. Nick shot that also.
Okay.
Most of it. If I was in the shot, I wasn't filming it.
That is true.
Really?
That is true.
We can't reveal all our secrets.
Sometimes it's a tripod. Sometimes it's somebody who
Is
gets
related to
trained
the band.
on
Is
camera
it
immediately.
your clone that's just got like a number 2
I
on their
wish
forehead?
that would be nice.
No, it's just he's the honorary 5th member.
There you go.
Yes. Shout out to Uncle Kunk.
So, is there anything else that you guys specifically want to touch on with new music that's yet to be released? Life on Venus, any of the upcoming shows that you guys have coming up that you want to specifically touch on before we move on to the next part of the episode?
Yeah, I'll start. I think Life on Venus is just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. These guys can interject their own thoughts and feelings, but I think the new stuff is gonna definitely take people by surprise, I would say.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much, but it's definitely in a different direction. So let's go there. But it's familiar at the same time. But yeah. Shows, Detroit, June 29th. We'll be at the Lager House.
Shout
We're
out
going
Lager
back
House.
to Toronto, which we can't fucking wait because Canada is incredible. July 6th at the Bovine Sex Club. Bovine, if you live in Canada. I think that's how they say it. And Excellency, obviously.
Excellency is going to be crazy. I'm going to
Yeah.
be there.
You're gonna be there, right?
Yes, sir.
And then keep a lookout for fall because we're not stopping.
If you
Some
see
stuff
me
in
at
the works.
Excellency, I'll have stickers. Come say hi.
We really hope to have the album out by the end of the year. So
That would be killer.
Well, he said 2024 is our year, so I think we have the pressure now to get it out before the end of the year.
No promises, but that's the goal.
Sorry, Al.
I'm going to hold you to it.
So. No, Al's got it. The guy's the fucking man. So if he's at work and he's getting his ass kicked right now, but we love him.
Al is goated.
Goated with the sauce.
Nicholas, I'll pass it to you, brother.
I don't even remember what
He wants
the
to know
question
what
was.
you're looking forward to.
Oh, I really want to get this new music out there.
Hell yeah.
We've started tracking 2 songs. That's kind of all I can really say right now.
At the time of recording.
Yeah, we're in the process right now.
Let's just say this: you're most likely getting one this summer.
We'll
yeah.
definitely release something as soon as
we
possible.
will. This summer,
One of
something
these
will come
two.
out.
It's going to be the song of the summer. That's how I've been referring to it.
Did I just write the song of the summer?
Somebody did. Somebody did.
Go ahead. Were you gonna say more?
No, go for it.
All right.
If I have more to say, I'll stop you.
I was gonna say, kind of what I was saying before is that I think Page Not Found, the first EP, was
Yeah.
kind of us coming back. Life on Venus was really, I look at it as our first real effort as Cascade Riot, like this version of the band.
Sure. Cascade Riot 2.0.
Exactly. And now this album is, like Adam was saying, it kind of takes things in a different direction. I would say, yeah, there's some stylistic things that people might not be expecting. And I'm trying to say, I don't want to give too much
I would
away.
say that I feel like
Leave them wanting more.
the new stuff we're working on, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like we keep saying, correct me if I'm wrong. But we're all
you're
very
never wrong.
No one's been
confident in
corrected
what we're
so far.
saying.
Yeah.
But I feel like the new stuff that we're demoing and working on, it just feels like what we're supposed to do.
I like
Yes.
that.
I
It
think
feels
you
like
can.
home.
I feel like even though if you don't know all of us individually, you'll hear all of us individually, and you'll understand.
Okay.
And I'm excited personally, with Nick coming in at the tail end of the last one, to actually have you on this one,
I'll
because
be all over it.
it was like we released the last EP and then we went out and started playing these shows, but he wasn't really on the EP. So there was this kind of this weird element to it. So now this is the first thing we're doing with Nick kind of from the ground up.
Yeah.
And
So-
you know what? He makes us sound and he makes us look like a real band.
I'm a performer.
True.
I just act like an idiot on stage, and
I was a little
Get into
disappointed
it.
the last time I saw you guys that I couldn't hear your leads better from where I was. I was kind of like right up
Working it
front, so
out.
I couldn't hear the PA quite as much.
We had harsh words with the sound guy.
No.
Unfortunate.
Afterwards.
Pike Room Sound Guy, you were fantastic. Thank
The
you.
Pike Room was amazing.
Yeah, we won't speak about anything
Shout out
else.
to the Pike Room. Shout out to Crowfoot generally
Yeah.
for everything that
I
they
think
do
our last
in
two
Detroit.
shows was the most I ever heard myself.
The last 2 shows have been the best, honestly.
We're just gonna keep getting better.
That's
the
the
plan.
hope, right? If you start getting worse, just hang it up. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always in the cards. No, I'm just kidding.
So, moving on to the next part of the episode, we're going to share some tunes that we've been listening to, some fresh finds, if you will. So,
How fresh do they have to be?
I mean, they can be new, they can be new to you. It doesn't really matter. As long as they'll be new to somebody, then I think that you're good. So, I'm going to start. We're going to go around in a circle, and then I believe that you guys chose the last 2 all together, right?
We have 2 picked out. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So my first song that I'm going to play is by an artist called Alexei Shishkin, somebody that I follow on Twitter and has been sending me their stuff before it's been released for quite a while. They released a project. It's crazy. This dude is just a recording artist, doesn't play live. This is their second full-length project of the year that's coming out. They had one back in January, and then this one is going to come out in June.
Before we start this segment, can we do like one of those things where you cut to like like an intermission screen so I can take a piss?
Sure. Actually, let me just introduce this, and then we'll stop. It'll
Okay,
take like
cool.
2 more minutes.
Yeah.
You're good.
Cut it.
But anyway, so this is their second full-length project of the year. I'm actually going to be debuting this song on the episode about a week and a half before the song actually comes out. It'll be available exclusively through the Fresh Finds podcast. This song is called Rose Gold.
Rose gold on the kitchen floor. Who knows when you walk through the door? Rose came and went.
Again, that was Rose Gold by Alexei Shishkin. I really hope I'm saying that name right. It's very possible I'm butchering it. I'm sorry.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah.
I think it's right.
Having not seen it at all or anything. But yeah, man, I just love like the vibe of that one, man.
But Mike, much like we were saying before, it's not bro country, but it's good country.
It's kind of got the country vibe, but like it's not a country song. And all of his stuff is kind of like this, where it doesn't fit neatly into a box. It's kind of got like all sorts of, different influences to it.
I enjoyed it.
You
It's
hear
very
it
good.
in the guitars where the country influence comes in.
Yeah.
Just the country rock licks. But there's so much going on, like the horns, that's like almost a soul influence.
yeah.
I mean, so yeah, that song is sweet.
And it's got a killer bass line too that's
Yes.
like kind of funky but like understated.
Yes.
It's not like, Flea going fucking nuts
It
or
moves
anything.
the song along.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's just enough to kind of keep the momentum there,
And it's definitely got like that 70s feel to it.
Yeah, you were specifically mentioning kind of like the drum tone, how it's like a very natural kind of like
It's like dry.
yeah,
Super
dry
cool.
kind of studio sound, kind of like maybe like a how versed are you guys in like drum recording techniques?
I'm pretty good with it. I mean,
Not
Okay.
particularly good, but
I used
was-
to do some producing.
Okay, cool.
But now I just let Al do it.
I was gonna say it kind of sounds like a Glenn Johns type of thing
Yeah.
to me.
Who worked with the Stones? We were talking about the Stones a little
Yep.
bit. So
And
it has
Zeppelin.
that 70s and Zeppelin. So yeah, it has that 70s kind of natural room kind of sound.
Yeah, which I think is great for this style, this kind of like laid back, slacker kind of like, vibe. I think it's he's releasing it late spring, early summer. I think that this is the perfect time to be releasing this type of music.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
It's great to just like bake in the sun and like,
it's a
listen to this type
moonshine
of
song.
thing.
I'm going to bake in the sun and listen to this. And you should too.
Yes.
But
You
then
can also
Alexei
get baked in the sun if you want.
Shishkin.
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 But
yes.
the other thing too is like I was saying, I'm not really like the only genre of music I can't really get into is country, but it's because of like the put on like fake twang
Yeah.
voice that they'll do, and then they'll like stop singing and suddenly their voice is just they have no accent at all.
Hi,
but it's like
I
put
am
on.
Glenn Everyman.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So like the thing is there's so many country songs out there where the instrumental is like, immaculate. Like
Yeah,
it's great. Like there's great musicians on the recording, but like this like twangy voice. I mean, if it's natural and that's your real voice, then awesome.
I
But-
personally really like, as far as like country music goes, I really like bluegrass a lot.
Yeah, I
And-
feel
and,
that.
And part of the reason
Shout
why
out to
is
Al.
because people who play bluegrass can fucking shred on their
yeah,
instruments.
It's actually
it's
true.
like true country
The
music.
biggest
Yeah.
shredders are bluegrass musicians and chicken pickers.
Yeah, exactly. And like
Shout out
and
to
like
Al.
all the people
Dang
who
it, Dale.
and like and like all the people who do that stuff are like, the most genuine motherfuckers ever, because like bluegrass doesn't have mainstream appeal, so there's not like the financial incentive to become a bluegrass artist,
That is true.
I think that that's really interesting. Like the music that has less mass appeal quality, that's where you're going to get more of the people that are just genuinely just into it,
Well, I mean, I think because there's no tie to formula here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. Like what Nick is referring to, the bro country, if you
Yeah.
will. There's a formula there.
They're literally writing it for an audience,
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I love, because
which is nice.
Like I said,
guess.
I've gotten to listen to this entire project, and that's one of the things that I love about it, is that it doesn't stick to a formula. Everything is very like outside of the box. There's a lot of different styles that it kind of hits on. They've all got a similar vibe, so it feels cohesive, but none of it feels samey, which I really like.
Yes.
Very good.
So what do we have up next? What's going to be your first pick?
My first pick is going to be Lurk, and the song is See Through. They're like a garage rock, melodic hardcore band, and they're based out of Chicago.
Sounds sick.
And it kicks dicks. So here we
Oh,
go.
that guy just fell out of his chair.
He's still falling.
Oh my god.
Somebody
He's
has
still
too many
falling.
beers
You can't
here
see
at
it,
Nain
but-
Rouge.
A guy just took it was like the longest fall I've ever
Yeah.
seen
He
out of
fell
a
that
chair.
for
guy
about
is
2
going
minutes.
down.
All right, but yeah,
Back
it's
to you.
Lurk. They're from Chicago. The song's 3-2, See Through.
All right.
3-2, and it
3, 2,
kicks
1.
ass.
Dude, that was fucking sick.
So yeah, for me, like I've always been a big fan of like the chaos, but they always find a way to like bring the pretty, beautiful melody, flowery type shit
Sure.
into it. So
Kind of like with that outro, like you were
yeah,
talking
that's
about.
the way. It's atmospheric, but it's like chaotic and crazy and just nuts all at the same time.
Yeah,
But
I
it
fucking
also has
love
that-
the
yeah.
drum production on
Yeah.
this, dude. It's so punchy.
It has that nostalgic, but it's like fresh at the same time.
I agree with that.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, just very, very classic. I mean, I agree with. I don't know what else I could really add.
One of the things that I really like was the like little riser thing going into the verse.
Yep.
You had this like hard as fuck riff, and then there's like I don't know if it was a guitar or if it was like a post production element that they would do with like tracks or something like that. But like that little riser bit into the verse, I thought was a great element, like production wise. I thought that was really
It's
cool.
just raw.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
raw.
Yeah, and just like Adam was saying, kind of the chaos into the payoff in the chorus.
Yeah.
You get that chaotic element, and then kind of like the sugary. Here's some candy to chew on.
Yeah. What were you saying about the vocalist too?
Kind of Mick Jaggery.
Kind of Mick Jagger.
I feel like Ryan wants to fight me on it, but
I just want you to.
I just want to fight you in general.
I just want you to explain it.
I just feel like he has that like sassiness. Like I just picture Mick Jagger putting his hand on his hip and
Yeah,
his
it's the
finger in
energy.
there, just
He's
like
got the
like
he's got that
yeah,
moves like
he just
Jagger.
got that energy like fuck you on Mick Jagger kind of feel. So.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's
he could shake his ass and weigh 90 pounds and not give a fuck, and he just controls the world. So
It has a very rock and roll feel to it.
Yeah.
it's very rock and roll.
I feel like if you're like a hardcore dude, you either weigh like 90 pounds or like 300 pounds.
There's no
That's
in
why
between.
hardcore is awesome.
There is no in between.
There's no in
Yeah.
between.
It's because they commit. They commit
yeah.
to either being tiny or
Commitment
being
to the bit.
or fucking muscle mass.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
long live hardcore. You are who you are.
Like I said, I was kind of expecting that like last bit to go into like a hard as fuck breakdown because it
Yeah.
was like slowing down, doing like the twinkly shit. I was just expecting like a.
Well, You said it transitions into another
Yeah.
song.
Let me tell you guys, just listen to the album. You won't be
Okay.
disappointed.
Is this an album or
What's
an EP?
their,
It's an album. They have a couple EPs out, but I believe this is one of, if not their only album, or one of two of their albums. But it's
called Around the Sun
It's-
from 2021.
It's fantastic.
What's their monthly listener count like?
Who cares?
I
like-
do.
Fantastic.
That's why I'm asking.
7.5K.
They
Okay.
need more. They
Cool.
need to be
Yeah.
750,000.
No, I like to like just gauge what's going on.
I think that it's interesting though to look at those numbers, even though like in the grand scheme of things they don't mean anything
No, they don't.
necessarily. But like it's there's something about looking at the stats that's interesting as far as like, is this band seeing success?
Well-
because like you know there's also the thing of like bands can pull a crazy crowd and
Yes.
still not do anything on
Yes.
streaming, or vice versa. You know, you can have a band that has great production and great tunes, but they can't play live for shit, so nobody comes out to see them.
Me
or
and
they
him had
sound-
this conversation
Yeah.
earlier. It's like it's kind of just unfair. So bands like them, they're doing something unique and something that, in my opinion, people aren't doing, and they don't get the recognition. Whereas to like what he said, fuckboy country bands will do it to, they'll do it to appeal to the masses so they can play the Super Bowl.
They just wanna sell
halftime
records.
show, and they're
Yeah.
automatically big.
I
Well,
think-
it's just not fair. I
was gonna
think
say
bands
if-
like Lurk, they deserve it.
If
so,
the
Yeah.
NFL
God
though
bless.
wants to book Cascade Riot for the halftime show, we're available.
Tom Brady.
Super Bowl in Detroit, Cascade Riot plays the halftime show.
Let's go.
By the way, I was just telling my wife yesterday the Super Bowl script leaked. Script, by the way. The Lions are winning, so we will be playing. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
I'm
But-
from the future, and I just have to say all that is true. It
But
happens.
like I think that it's interesting going back to like the monthly listener count thing, that like the promotion and like the booking kind of uses those numbers to like try and gauge like whether people can draw an audience, and those two aren't necessarily like correlated in that way necessarily. And like I was saying a while ago too, I feel like they just turned up the music.
we got to be louder now. The energy just got brought up.
But like I don't remember what I was gonna say. I got
The music,
sidetracked.
the numbers.
I kind of get what you're saying.
The
It's
numbers.
just-
There's not necessarily
Yeah.
a correlation.
They look at the numbers.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I was gonna say too is like record labels. Obviously, all of this that we're doing is like DIY. We don't have record labels and
Yeah.
like executives and that shit. But like it feels like a lot of people are getting signed because like they have like a song blow up on TikTok or something like that. And it's like I feel like you wouldn't be having some of the issues that record labels are having with bands not having longevity if they like went out to shows and saw who people were coming out to see.
I'd like to add to what you said, please. TikTok is the downfall of society. Thank you.
This will be the first clip that I upload to TikTok from this episode.
Thank you.
No, I because it's all about, well, how many views can we get, and
Yeah.
what's hot right in this second, and
Yeah.
there's no room to grow.
I think
you know.
I think what you said kind of hit home with me because I guarantee if Lyric were to play a show right now in Chicago, it'd probably be packed.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
probably be
But-
dudes flying in the air and shit.
Exactly. But like people look at the
300
numbers.
pounds or 90-pound dudes.
And I know, speaking for me personally, like I'll listen to Lurk, and then maybe like I listen to so much music, I'll forget about Lurk for like 2 months. But then they'll
Sure.
come up, and I'll be like, "Oh, fucking
fuck
Lurk!"
yeah.
You know what I mean? And but you see the number, and it's on a monthly basis, and everyone's like, "Well, this month they only have 7,500, but next month they have fucking 150,000." It's fucking stupid. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else got anything to add before we move on to our
I have
next
nothing
episode?
to add.
No.
All right.
Kick ass rock and roll.
What-
That's
what-
it.
Ryan has nothing to add.
What do we got coming up next?
Okay, well, it's on to me. I was asking for numbers just because I wanted to make sure that my picks lined up
Oh sure.
with the numbers.
Sure.
So the song that I really want to show, which I feel like nobody really knows about it, and these guys are gonna laugh at me because
It's totally fine.
it's probably not. I don't know. Is it DIY? I don't know. But it's a song by Belvedere called Elephant March.
It's a good pick. Let's hear it.
That's my pick.
When they took your eyes, the one that saw the correlation, that the corruption crossed the line. When they took your voice, the one that yelled in desperation, the ones they fear would end their time. We're desperate for love, enamored with time, but then we have to accept our fate. And shorten your pride, you need a larger reason to live. When others have died, it's just a little pushback one time in your life. And when you see it, the burden begins, there's a need for it. There's nothing for us and they're full of shit. We're watching them failing to know the cage and there's nowhere left to go. When they took your ears, the ones that heard the devastation, it makes us perilous inside. When they took your hands, the ones that hold the disappointment, a sturdy grip to make you blind. We're desperate for love, enamored with time, but then we have to accept our fate. And shorten your pride, you need a larger reason to live. When others have died, it's just a little pushback one time in your life. And when you see it, the burden begins, there's a need for it. There's nothing for us and they're full of shit. We're desperate to have our needs met. This time, in its totality, corruption it seems gives no chance to breathe. Exclude the pop, the corporate entities, and watching them failing to know the cage and there's nowhere left to go. It feels very much like a wall. It feels very much like a spear. It feels very much like a tree. It feels very much like a road. When you give it no hope and when you see it, the burden begins, there's a need for it. There's nothing for us and they're full of shit. We're desperate
I lose my shit every time I hear that. And I've heard it. It's probably one of my top played songs of last year.
Yeah, like I mean, you saw my face like the minute it like turned on. I was like, this is something fucking special
Just
right here.
Within 3 seconds, you were like,
So-
what?
Yeah,
much to like how Nick's reacting, I think I speak for me, Alex, and Ryan. When they started playing during soundcheck, we were like, why the fuck are we even here?
yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So
I like what you said. They're like the Rush of punk rock.
they
Yeah.
are very.
progressive punk.
Not only are they talented, but I only really talk to Steve from the band. but
Steve.
they're
The
fucking.
Steve. Oh, but Steve,
Let me tell you something.
tell us.
Very
Tell us.
extremely nice, down to earth people. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's the way it should be. We'll leave it at that.
I think that this is rad as hell because like it's hooky, it's punky, but also like it's got some like cool mathy kind of shit where it's got like some weird rhythms. You pointed out the part that was in 5.
Yep.
You know, there's like all these like little things. Like there's the vibe switch in the bridge too that's really cool.
Yep.
Like this whole thing is so rad.
These guys showed up to Detroit and put on a fucking clinic
Where was that show?
at Smalls and Hamtramck.
Oh, okay. Well,
if-
this is legit.
You know, of course, they're like, this is just practice for us. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, well,
They're just passing
Well,
through.
They hadn't played in the States in how long? Because they're
20
from Canada.
Yeah, they told us they hadn't played in the States for 20 years. They all live in different parts of Canada, so they hadn't practiced. Meanwhile, they're embarrassing all of us. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, we've been practicing for the last 2 months, so we don't look like jackasses. And
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what I think is really interesting about Canadian music in like the North American culture is that it really is like you were talking about, like, yeah, they barely even pulled like a crowd, you know, playing in Detroit, but you were like, oh, they'd probably pull a crazy crowd if they were playing in Canada.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think is interesting that I found out recently is that Canada actually has a law where, at least for radio, I think it might be for all media.
I heard that.
This is true. This
that-
is
At
true.
least
30% or
500
something?
people have to
Yeah,
show up
yeah.
to every concert.
No, they have to play like
It's like 30 or 35% of all the media that's played on a Canadian
Has to be
station
Canadian.
Has to be Canadian.
has to be Canadian in origin.
Yeah.
So
That's
like,
wild.
Yeah, so like bands like Pup or the Dirty Nil are like way bigger. Like those are fairly big bands.
That's what helped Sloan out. I
Even
love-
here in the States.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those bands are way huge in
Well,
Canada.
like when we Billy Talent's another one that's from Canada.
Yeah.
And when I'm just gonna say when we played that show because I was clearly there too. When we played that
you
show.
played the camera.
Yeah. Click, click. I remember talking to people that drove from Montreal.
Really?
Like all the way down to Ferndale to see.
To see Cascade Riot.
let's be honest.
But you know what I mean? Like they showed that place
Yeah.
was packed.
No, I think that that's cool as hell, honestly, because like you
A
know,
majority of the people there, I think, were from like Canada.
I believe it. I
Well,
believe it.
I remember I
100%.
did a check at one point. I was like, "How many people are from Canada?" And the place just erupted. So that was crazy.
We love Canada. Poutine's
Shout
the
out
best
We'll be there soon.
side dish.
Be right there.
Shout out Canada. We are actually north of you right now, despite being in the United States.
That's true.
Only place.
I guess you're right. Hey.
But you guys also mentioned they've been active for how long?
Probably since about, I would say, 95. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Steve.
I
But
think that's right. I
Some
think
point in the
95 and
90s.
96.
So they've been active for nearly 30 years.
I mean, they're a Tony Hawk band.
This record came out in 2021. So like after 25 years, we'll say 26 years, they're still putting out heat. Like this is phenomenal.
Honestly, it's probably their most heat.
And I don't think I discovered them until like maybe 2013 or 2014.
Okay.
And I went through all their stuff and I'm like, this is like so interesting, like the way that they write, the way that like the guitar parts and the bass, like just everything's kind of just
The way it kind
going
of
ham.
intertwines together. Yeah.
Everything is going ham, but at the same time, they're still playing together.
Yeah.
Much to what Nick said, it's their Scorpion Pepper of albums. They're bringing the heat.
I like it.
I just like that. I can throw that shit on and just lose my shit to it every
Yeah,
time.
I need to check out this whole record because like just that sample there,
Do it.
fucking blew me
I
away.
can listen. I listened to that album like on a flight, like just letting it play over and over and over again and was fine. I was just like, I'm just going to keep listening to this
Just
until I
into
get
this.
there.
Yeah.
If you're watching this and you have the opportunity, go see them. I promise you. You'll be...
You watching
Or,
this
like,
right now.
If you know
Bell to
anything
Steve.
about a guitar, drums, bass, a microphone, anything, you'll
If
be
you
blown
have
away.
if you have ears, what are you doing? Stop wasting them.
Yeah, no, for real. Good guys, good music. They work hard. They
And I'd
fucking
love
roll.
to play with them now that I'm in this band.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Steve,
Oh well, I played with them.
just rub it in my face.
Belvedere, take
We'll
these
wait
guys
till the
on
camera's
tour.
off.
I'm going to
Take
fanboy
these
if we
guys
ever
on
play with
tour
them.
around Canada
Let's
and
tour
like
Canada.
northern U.S.
Let's tour Canada. I don't know how many states you have, but let's do all of
I
them.
think there's like 7.
Yeah. Let's do
I
it.
was really
And they're not called
self-conscious
states.
about my
Provinces.
choices.
Province. So, what do we have up next, Ryan?
I would like to go with a band called Extra Arms and a song called Everything Disappears.
Ooh.
They are actually a local Detroit band,
Okay.
and this song is fairly new. I think it came out last month, and it's a little interesting to kind of piggyback off of our conversation earlier. This band is kind of a classic power pop kind of band.
Okay.
And it kind of speaks to my sensibilities because I appreciate melody.
Yeah.
And so let's get into it.
Dude, that is so classic. Like just the classic, power pop sound.
It's just classic power pop and very melody driven. And that's always what stands out to me in a song.
Yeah.
The hook, the melody. And it's like Adam and I were actually talking about this earlier. It's like a song you can have the heaviest, most dissonant song in the world, but where's the tune behind it? And
Sure.
that's what sticks with me. And that's what this song has.
Oh yeah, it's so catchy, so hooky. Like I was saying, it kind of reminds me of Super Crush, who are kind of like a more modern. I think they're from like Seattle. I think like power pop band. You guys were bringing up like Cheap Trick a little bit too.
Tom
Like,
Petty.
the other thing about it too is there was almost like something about it that it sounds like, I don't know if this is the right word, but like effortless.
Yeah.
Like where they're just kind of doing, like, nobody's like really, there's no like belting and there's nothing that's like crazy, but it's just this catchy like hook that kind of just sits in your head.
It feels like you could walk up and like these guys would just be jamming this shit, and,
Yeah.
and it would and it would
And
just
you
be
would just-
like the chillest thing, you know.
It goes against everything I said about the scene. It's good Detroit rock and roll.
I mean, but that's honestly,
retract that
That's
comment.
one of the reasons I picked that song is because it's just an example of like there's just so much going on
Yeah.
in Detroit because this is a local Detroit band.
Extra
and-
arms. Let's hook up.
And,
Let's
play.
get
and
it.
that's
Let's
kind
get
of
on it.
kind of like the thing too is like I like to think that I try to stay like fairly involved with like the local Detroit scene.
You're better than us.
I go to shows like every other weekend, something
Yeah.
like that, and like I'm still every day discovering new bands from around here that are still active, still writing, releasing music, still playing shows that I've never heard of, and they're all phenomenal.
There's so much. And you can't keep up with all of it.
No,
Right?
and that's the thing is like I want to keep up with all of it,
I know.
but I feel like it's futile.
That's the thing about like the whole DIY thing is that like because the time that we're living in where everything is kind of like we have social media,
Fragmented.
everything is
Yeah.
very like accessible. Whereas like back in the day, DIY was like, oh, we're gonna go to the store and we're gonna buy shirts and make them ourselves and we're gonna
Yeah.
do that and like. But nowadays, because we have social media where we can push things out, everything is out there,
You're right.
and it's almost overwhelming.
Nowadays, I feel like with technology, you could probably write, record, and put a song out on Bandcamp with probably in it 8 hours.
and
Time.
that's
Yeah.
what and that's
Same
what
day.
people are doing, and it's
Yeah.
incredible.
And
I mean,
it's cool, but
they-
for like people like us, like just looking for
Yeah.
new music and wanting to listen to it, this market is so saturated that it's almost overwhelming, and it's
That-
kind of like it's a good thing,
Yeah.
but also
It's a bad thing as well.
It's a bad thing.
How do you
that's
stand
part
out?
of the
It's a
thing.
double-edged sword.
Like when I do this show, especially Ryan knows this being on Twitter. There's
Yeah.
there's the bands that everybody talks about, and especially like you think of like Red Sun, Ben Quad, like that type
Yeah.
of shit. And it's like I love to talk about them like on social media and that sort of thing, but because they're already getting so much press in that space, I don't cover those types of bands as much. I tend to cover bands that I don't see anybody else talking about because there is such a wide breadth of stuff. I'm like, if everybody else is kind of talking about this, I want to talk about this because then it helps shine a light on that as well.
Start
you know?
talking, people.
Well, and that's the thing too, is a band like Ben Quad, who I love by the way.
Yeah.
So many
did,
peo-
did you see the Wax Bodega tour when they came through?
I did not see that
Oh,
show.
it was so good.
I know you were there.
Yes, I was.
But there's so many people that wouldn't even know about Ben Quad, like unless you're plugged
Yeah.
into that scene.
Well,
and
I mean-
but the point being that it goes even beneath that. There's so much more below them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, shout out to other DIY podcasts and stuff like that. Like, they were on Beers with Bands forever ago, and now they're like, they're touring with Hot Mulligan.
They're
and shit.
massive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we need more people like you, Ryan.
I appreciate it. I try to do what I
God,
can. Why do you just keep pulling the windscreen off, dude?
it's just my.
Don't
it's
play
my
with the
thing.
head.
It's my trick. I can play with the head. That's not the first time he's told me that
Oh boy.
It's very sensitive.
or that.
Ryan's always pulling one off.
So my next song actually
Rated X.
Ben Quad was a great segue because they put out their first album on Thumbs Up Records, which are based in Wisconsin, I believe Milwaukee. And the next band that I want to feature is a band called Garden Home. They're a like post-hardcore screamo band from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This song is called Grim. It's off of their most recent self-titled album that came out on April 12th. Let's give it a listen. This thing fucking rips.
Rock and roll.
I've got news to share. And I'm hoping you're doing well. I love you. I miss you. Call me.
And we're rolling again. Just got a couple more beers, went to the bathroom, had a nice little potty break.
Yep.
All together,
Sure
all
did.
4 of us.
Yep.
Yes.
We were all aiming at the same bowl at the same
2
time.
hours later.
We all went to the bathroom and talked about guys together.
But yeah, dude, like that song, I think, like, it hits so hard. Ryan, you've listened to the entire album, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like, to me, that song is a highlight from it. Like, the entire thing just goes. Like, it's, I think...
I mean, in general, they go hard, but it's not
Yeah.
monotonous. I mean, there's a lot of musicality going on.
Yeah, it's and it's all really, like, concise
Yes.
stuff too. They know how to, like, keep it just long enough that it doesn't, like, overstay its welcome.
So for me, I'm going to date myself here.
Sure.
It's very high school. I'm 34 now, so do the math. But it's very MySpace high school.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's got that early...
I put that on my front page
Yeah,
of MySpace.
it's got that post-hardcore, very thricey, Glassjaw,
They mentioned, I think, like, Seosin.
Seosin,
Yeah.
Underoath type sound.
I think we should mention that is not meant as an insult
No.
either.
No.
No.
It's like
It's endearing.
It
terms
harkens
of
back
endearment.
to a better
Endearment.
time, people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was it a better time, or did you just not have as many responsibilities?
Both.
Probably true. But I'm just gonna straight up steal content from another podcast here a little bit. But I just recently was on like a 8-hour drive or something like that, and I was catching up on podcasts, including Beers with Bands. This is their second shout out on this episode. Anyway, one of the things that I think also makes this hit so hard is the lyrics. If you weren't quite able to make them out because, you know, they're screamed pretty crazy, the main lyric that comes back that's kind of like the hook is, the Reaper is coming to keep you, but not as a foe, as a friend, to guide you peacefully to the end. And this song is about, like, a loved one, somebody who's close to you committing suicide. But it's very much like, it's not in a negative way, like you're remembering this person and hoping that because they were troubled that they were able to find peace. And I think it's a beautiful, like, memorial to the person. At the very end, there's a like voicemail that person had left to somebody else. That was that sample at the end there. I think it's a beautiful tribute to that.
It's a cool tune.
Yeah. But like I said, this was released about a month ago at this point. I've been jamming it like crazy. Came out on Thumbs Up Records.
They're doing the thing, man.
Yeah. Crazy Wisconsin band. I think it's interesting seeing, especially through Thumbs Up Records, seeing kind of like the Wisconsin scene with, you know, Tiny Voices and Garden Home and like a bunch of those guys, kind of like seeing what Wisconsin has to offer. Because normally it's not like a place that I would think of as being like a hotbed for like heavy alternative music, but
I don't know of anybody out of Wisconsin.
No, I mean, there's a lot going on, and that's kind of what I meant earlier when I was, like, when Adam was talking about how Michigan is almost divided into 2 different things.
yeah.
You have what's going on in Metro Detroit, and then you have this west side of the state that kind of extends into Wisconsin almost.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, killing it.
Good
For
shit.
sure. So what is our next tune going to be?
My next pick is, I think they should have more notability than they have, but it's one step closer, and the song is Leap Years, and it's going to be on their upcoming album, which I can't wait for.
So this must be like one of the singles.
Yep.
All
And
right.
honestly, out of the 3 singles I've heard, all 3 are fucking fantastic, and it's probably going to be my album of the year, so let's just get into it.
Myself too seriously, I'm left wide open. So
So be alone. So this time I'll just stand by and watch as the months go by. When you find out I'm not really gone, really gone. So this time I'll just stand by and watch as the months go by. When you find out I'm not really gone, really gone, really gone.
Dude, that shit goes hard as hell, man.
Yeah, so like for me, like I said, Comeback Kid story so far, it's like a love child between those two. So, and Comeback Kid Canada again, you know what I mean? So I just like it.
What
So,
do you mean?
It's definitely just it's for me. It's like what we said earlier. It's that new wave, but they're like diving into that nostalgia. So to me, that's
This
I love
vocalist
that shit.
specifically,
So.
like the way that they scream reminds me of somebody, and I can't quite place it. It's one of those things where it's like on the tip of my tongue, and it's gonna bother
It's gonna
me
bug you all night.
I'm gonna remember it at like 2 a.m.
The fact
and
that you
just, like,
can't remember
fucking
is a
send
good
you a
thing,
message
though.
on Twitter or
The
something
fact
like
that
that.
you can't remember is a good thing.
It probably is, because it means that there's enough separation that I'm not just
Yeah.
like, oh, it's this band. But it makes me think of, and it's a band that I love too, for sure. So like I
just
think
think-
that this is great.
For me, like this band deserves everything that they have coming. So
Yeah, 100%.
Nick's turn or whoever.
I mean, with this song too, like it's so like the chorus is so poppy too, which I love, because like I think that there's a great juxtaposition there. Like I feel like a lot of people kind of shit on like the easycore type shit when it came around.
Yeah.
Well,
But
they
it's
should
like-
be shit on.
I love that shit, because I think that like the juxtaposition between like the really poppy choruses and then like, you know, the heavier shit with like the breakdowns and like all that kind of stuff. I think that it's great because no song sounds exactly the same. You're able to do so much with
It's like
it.
I said, it's like the payoff. It's the palate cleanser.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like the vocal harmonies on this are
The vocal
so
harmonies are great.
rad.
Word. What do you
Yeah.
got, big boy?
What do we got up next?
Let's go with Exploding Head Syndrome
Okay.
by One Hidden Frame.
All right. You got any background on this, or you just want to go straight into
Let's
it?
just dial it in.
All right.
It's just good.
Nick likes diving right in.
One rotten apple to spoil the whole basket. New little adults chuckle in the great
Hey, Ryan.
Hey,
Keep spinning that wheel for the big money, brother.
I'd love to. I'd love to win big.
God, fuck, that wasn't what I was talking about.
He was not. That was not what he wanted you to
Something
repeat.
wrong with this guy. Luckily, he writes good songs, so
No,
he gets
I
to
think
stay.
he wanted you to say the thing about this is very.
Grabbing
So
a
yeah,
skateboard,
so it's very Nick, but it's very grabbing a skateboard and evading a cop,
Which is what
specifically
I was
Kevin
saying.
James
That's
Mammal.
all we do, really.
But yeah, hopefully they're on a Segway
Dude,
at a
this
mall.
sounds so fucking scripted. It was way better like 20 seconds ago.
Hey,
I'm a sucker for the skate punk.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
There was even a time at like one of our like practices where you just like looked at me and I was playing some riff and you were just like, you're so fucking skate punk.
Nick skate punk. And
I was just playing something
Yeah.
like stupid and
No, I love this though. Like it's just like it's got that energy, man. And like the vocalist, I was saying it kind of reminds me of like Kill Switch in an interesting way. And like it sounded fucking sick.
What do you think, Adam?
I think that what he said is right on. And Nick's
Right
very
on.
skate punk. And if I had to say anything about Ryan, he's
the
a
skatiest
Ryan's a
punk
clean
of them
guitar.
all.
So what's your pick, bud?
Hold on.
hold
Hold on, we're
This
still
is
like
cheap.
Shit, I'm not
I
the
still
host.
want to hear about my pick here.
Yeah, man.
It's a good tune. What else do you want me to say?
How long has this band been around?
Who gives a shit? They're good.
I don't even know. I can't answer that question.
Okay, let's see. I have the
Live
computer here.
research.
Live research. Here we come.
I don't know. Like the other
I'll look it
band
up.
I picked, Belvedere, like they're in my top 5
Okay.
easily.
Yeah.
They live there. This
What-
band was just kind of like it was one of those things where it just came on after I was listening to something else.
Okay, sure.
And I was like, shit, I dig this. I'm gonna check out some of their other stuff.
Interestingly, another Belvedere song started auto playing after that. Song.
After that song,
As it should.
Yeah.
I was probably listening to Belvedere when I discovered these.
It
guys.
would make sense. These guys have been around since 2009, so they've been around for a minute too. This song was from a 2017 album.
Yeah, sorry, it's a little old and outdated.
Well, no, it's
it's not
cool.
the newest model.
Like I said, it's not something that I've ever heard of, so I think that's actually sick.
That's all I'm trying to do here.
Yeah, they've got a bunch of stuff from 2022 as well, so it looks like they're still active, which is cool.
Good.
Should be.
Where are they from? I'm just gonna
That one just stuck out to me.
just
That
gonna
one I
read
was
their
like,
fucking Spotify bio here.
it just made me want to drive
You have,
fast.
you have
know.
Belvedere's bio up.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Sorry, bud.
No, you're. So these guys.
We're out here at Nain Rouge.
We're getting to the time of the night when people are having trouble focusing because they've had a couple beers.
Who me?
Speak for yourself.
I just
Not
said
I.
people. I didn't call you out.
Not I.
I'm locked in. I'm a
Locked in.
professional.
Time to get through these tunes.
All right, Ryan. What do you have up next?
I'm gonna go with Palette Knife,
All right.
Avatar, the last cake bender.
Any
Did you just
background
make that
you want to
up?
give on them, or
No.
how you
I-
found them, or anything?
Well, I mean, big on Twitter. I found him on Twitter, and that song in particular is a song that. Well, do you want to discuss it now or after?
I guess it doesn't really matter.
Let's switch it up.
Let's
Let's switch it up.
You wanna
Let's
switch
talk
it
about
up?
it now.
Let's
all
get the
right, all
facts
right.
from
Let's get
Ryan, and
saucy.
then we can see if it adds up after.
The facts from Ryan
I
and
just-
Ryan, because we're both the two that
We're both Ryan.
Ryan squared.
I just love. Well, I mean, it's a very hooky song, and I love the guitar on it. And it's the kind of guitar that like I would never play. Lots of pull-offs
Yeah.
and whatnot. And it's the first song I ever heard from them, so it stands out to me. And I thought it was worth raising it up.
And if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're an excellency band.
They are playing at
We can't
Excellency.
hear you. I know you're talking into the mic,
I'm
but
talking
I
to the
want to
people.
hear what you're saying.
Catch them at Excellency
But yes,
2024.
they are gonna be at Excellency. I'm really looking forward to seeing them. I saw them at the Lager House in January for I think it was like 0.5 Fest or something like that.
I respect you for going to the Lager House in January.
That whole album though is so good.
Yeah, it came out last year. I think for a lot of people like that are really into like the kind of like DIY emo stuff, it was their like album of the year for a lot of people.
Yeah, and this
Stays
is,
in rotation.
and this is the first song I ever heard from them, so that's part of the reason I picked this one.
I'm
I
excited.
I could have picked any of them, honestly.
I like
but-
it.
Can't wait to hear it.
Sorry I didn't call you back, I was too busy texting.
calling a friend I met on my phone 3-4 months ago. While she wasn't down for an anime convention, there is nothing conventional about this behavior. She wants me to come over and watch Avatar, but my anxiety says I will stay at home and date myself. We're both consenting adults. I just don't do that anymore. I'm gonna die a fish man on my shower floor because I'm too lazy to clean your hair out of my drain. Tell mom and dad I'm doing fine. I used to like myself only sometimes. Stop telling children they're fucking gifted. Please construct additional bylaws that my expectations don't fit. You said all I would ever need is over it sometimes. I called you on the phone. Said I was not designed to cut through flesh and bone. Get just now 4G motion when it fucks the serotonin ad. I'm a demigod for now, please just say you'll take it slow. Get just now 4G motion when it fucks the serotonin ad. I'm a demigod for now, please just say you will. Just say you will. In the morning we can hash out the details. Say you will and I'll come over and watch Avatar. Say you will. In the morning we can hash out the details. Say you will and I'll come over and watch Avatar. But my anxiety says water bending's code for something else. We're both consenting adults. I just don't do that anymore. I'm gonna die a fish man on my shower floor because I'm too lazy to clean your hair out of my drain. Go on, I need another season. Go on, I need another reason. Go on, Woodhouse for just one weekend. Go on, I need no.
Yes.
Oh man, dude.
All right, so
We're all just so fucking into this,
I'm
man.
gonna get some. I'm gonna
I
get some
can't wait
heat.
to see these guys.
I'm gonna get some heat for this, but this is what makes this shit interesting. I don't get the whole new emo thing, but that was good.
Okay. All right.
That was good.
See,
you can
the-
get shit.
That was
That's
good.
fine.
Yeah, these guys are super cool. This was like I said, a lot of people's probably like album of the year. I think it's crazy because they're playing all these like emo tappy pull off type riffs and shit, but they don't play in like open tunings or anything. Like they're playing in I think standard or like D standard.
That's
or
what I
something like
meant.
that.
Is like I listen to that and it's like I don't play that way at all, and
Yeah.
so like to hear them, it's like, what are you doing? But
It's not like
awesome.
open C or open F
Yeah.
or whatever it is, and it's like
it's really
makes it really
interesting
easy.
when you hear somebody, especially when it's in the same tuning too, because you've just got the exact same layout on the fretboard,
Yeah.
but
Very good.
somebody who just approaches it so differently
Yes.
than you do. I think it's super cool. It's also hooky as hell.
I think that's part of the reason why I said what I said. It stood out.
yeah, for
No,
sure.
it's hooky as hell. And what were you saying
I'm
about?
definitely gonna go back and listen to it because I mean, obviously, we're listening to it on your,
just like a MacBook speaker.
which
yeah.
are fantastic speakers. You hear that, Apple? No, but
Tim
Give me
Cook,
money.
Steve Jobs.
money, please. No, but they do this thing where they go to this like in between note, like an accidental. I
Yeah.
think is the. I'm not like musically trained, so I don't know.
Sure.
But
You swine.
there's this bass player. He's like arguably like one of the best bass players ever. His name's Adam. No, I'm joking.
Fuck off.
No,
The
You're
beers
talking
are
about
flowing
Geddy Lee,
tonight,
right?
boys.
no. It's this guy.
Paul McCartney.
He's like a jazz dude, and he talks about how
Jaco Pastorius.
it's not.
Marcus
I mean,
Miller.
I'm gonna get all kinds of heat because I can't remember his name right now, but I've had a few. But
It's fine.
Adam Brady.
nope, you're not helping.
You're not helping.
But he talks about like
Gene
it's not about. It's not about. I don't remember. Cut that. No. I lost it.
Oh no,
Nick, accidental notes.
I think
accidental
The-
notes.
the accidental
I think I
notes.
know what you were gonna say though. It was fuck. I can't remember who said it, but you're only ever one note away from the right note.
No, it wasn't even that, but that's cool too. I
Okay.
like that.
I got
Let's
an
write
idea.
that down.
I got an idea.
Did you make that up?
No,
I got an idea.
I will take credit for it though.
It's a good song.
It's a good song. It
There
is.
we go.
No,
That doesn't
but
make for a good
he does-
podcast though.
He does these things.
Whatever.
They're doing these things where they hit this note that's a climbing note. It's like an in between,
Yeah.
and it like goes up, and it's like not actually in the key that they're playing in.
Yeah.
But because of that, it makes you feel something.
There's like a little bit of tension there that
you
makes
wait,
it interesting.
and then it makes you like
Somebody-
long for that next note.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for that shit.
Somebody
that
had
like
too
gets
much
me
to drink
hyped. It makes
from
me.
Nain Rouge.
So, so Ryan's gonna
Yeah.
love this because this is a song that I wrote that he really likes.
Yeah.
But in my song "Drifting,"
So good.
there's there's something that I kind of do with that where there's like a little guitar solo under the last chorus, and there's a note there where I was playing it, and there was the note that was in the key, and I decided that didn't sound right, and I wanted to use the one that was like I think it was the sharp of whatever note it would have been. And it's like it just adds that kind of like tension, that little bit of like bluesy flair that makes the next note feel so satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said for feel. Like, something might not technically be correct, but
yeah.
you play what feels good and what moves the song along in the way that you want it to.
And that's kind of the thing is like some people will say like, oh, knowing music theory ruins creativity or whatever, or like self-taught people are, you know, better at writing music because they don't know the rules and so they're not restricted by them or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's entirely true, but I think that there is some truth to it because
I'm with you, man.
breaking the rules and doing these things that aren't quite, you know, quote unquote right
Yeah.
is kind of something that like it adds intrigue, it adds interest that like a lot of people might not think about, you know.
I don't remember the quote, but I remember the guy. It's
Okay.
Victor Wooten.
Amazing.
I
Craziest,
think
one of the
that's what I was
craziest
thinking of,
bass
yeah.
players. And I don't remember what the quote is, but it's something about there not really being any wrong notes. It's like something about the way
It's how you use them.
or it's like the wrong note are the ones that you feel or something. I don't
Okay.
know. Something deep and like poetic like that, and I'm not deep and poetic.
The
I'm just-
wrong note at the right time is
yeah,
the right
I
note
don't
or
know.
something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a great quote.
kinda get
Find
what
it.
he's saying.
If you
It's
find
like-
it, throw it in there.
It's whatever works.
It's whatever
Put it on
sounds
the screen
good.
right now.
No, well, and that's the thing. I mean, you're totally right though. Like, if it sounds good, it is good.
If it
You know,
sounds
it
good,
doesn't fucking matter. That
And like, look at the four of us right now. We're geeking out about that one little fucking thing.
yeah.
So there you go.
I mean, and that can be attributed to like production. It can be attributed to, you know, songwriting. It can be attributed to things that aren't even a part of music.
And I'd like to
But,
say,
like-
shout out to Al. He'd probably whatever that is in there, he'd
And
leave
then
it
there's
in. So-
another quote by Miles Davis,
Okay,
and he says something about like I'm gonna butcher it again, but
that's fine. I'll correct you in the edit.
it's something about like
cut.
it's not the note that you play that is wrong. It's like the note that you play after that note that makes that previous note right or wrong.
Yes. No.
Something like that.
I know that.
Correct
one
it in
too.
post.
Yeah,
Just use AI to fix my speech and
Use
make everything
Mark
good.
Zuckerberg's meta.
I would like to give his quote too. A stitch in time saves 9.
Okay.
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
We're off the rails here at
Shout out to
Nain
Hal.
Rouge
The beers
Brewery.
are flowing here at Nain Rouge Brewery.
Nah,
This is
we're
going to
good.
be the highest rated podcast
Th-
of our
this is-
time.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's going to be like whatever episode is the biggest shit show is going to be the one
I
that
hope-
Well,
like,
you're going to have to start doing them here.
I hope you get a check from Spotify for $1 million and you can get a house.
I'll be lucky if I'll
in
be lucky if I
Belize.
get a check from Spotify for $1.
Whatever. They owe you $1 million.
All right, so we've gotten past everybody's individual picks.
Yep.
We've gotten a
Yep.
little bit off the rails, a little bit loose, which is
Unfortunately.
great.
It's cool.
What are the songs that you? What's the first of the two songs that
Mr.
you guys
Ryan
picked
Well,
as a unit?
Bela.
Well, I will tell you. The first song we'd like to pick is a song by a band called Wasting Time.
Fantastic.
It's called What Do You
Canada.
Know? And the reason, we first became aware of Wasting Time is that story I told earlier about when Page Not Found came out and we were asked to come to Toronto and play a show.
Yeah.
The show we played was with Wasting Time.
Okay.
And so that was our exposure to them. And they're great. I don't even know how to describe them. Like,
We were talking about this in the car on the way. I compare them to us, kind of. They're trying to do their thing now, but they harken back to that old shit they grew up with. So, mad props.
I mean, there's a very nostalgic 90s, early 2000 throwback element to them, I would say, the pop punk
Yeah.
sort of thing. But this is off of their newest album that just came out last month, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, it's called What Do You Know? So let's get into it, Ryan.
Let's
do
check it out,
it.
Ryan.
Wasting time.
Back
baby.
to you, Ryan.
What do you say? What do you know? Was it all just for the show? On the hearts and lips of children for all time? What do you do? Where do you go? We've been loyal to the bone. I don't mind if you don't mind, for heaven's sakes. All in all, it's not so bad. All in all, it's not so bad. This is the time, are we blue? Predicate my love and use as a flaw while taking over moral ground. Roses and wine, blue velvet dress, overwhelming fits of joy, fascination with dysfunction of our kind. All in all, it's not so bad. All in all, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. It feels like we're shorting out. It's simplistic with a trigger by design. Can you hear them scream and shout? Come on, baby, can we do it one more time? What do you say? What do you know? Was it all just for the show? On the hearts and lips of children for all.
Okay, so I feel like I've been starting all of these by just being like, that was cool as hell. But like, especially the dynamics of it, which is the first thing that you pointed out.
Yeah, I mean, the way it goes from the punky verses into the quiet choruses with that. I mean, is there an acoustic in there? Is that?
I couldn't quite tell on like the way that we're listening. I couldn't
Yeah.
quite tell if it was an acoustic
These
or
Apple MacBook speakers.
like.
But the dynamics are
Tim Cook.
present. And no, the
Tim Apple.
no, just a great song, great arrangement, catchy as hell, nostalgic but fresh.
Yeah. I think that it's really cool too. Like you were talking about the dynamics, like there's those like weird, like not quite major or minor, but some sort of like slightly like spicy chords. And then like the bit where I think it would technically be the bridge of the song where it just goes to that like muted kind of bit.
Yeah.
I think that like the way that they do all of that makes for such a unique song. And then the slowdown, dude.
Yep.
The slowdown is
that like fill, the way that like it's like a fill and it slows down in that fill.
yeah.
Oh,
Talking to
sorry,
your
I
mic,
wasn't talking
Nick.
into the mic.
Yeah.
I was air drumming, so I wasn't talking to the mic.
He's so into it.
But it's the way that like it slows down like during that fill.
Yeah.
And it makes it like just
I feel like doing the slowdown mid bar like that
Exactly.
with like there's something that's kind of difficult about that. You have to be a tight band in order to pull that off because like you have to all slow down at the exact amount. Like if a drummer starts a song, you can all kind of pick up the tempo, but when you all have to slow down to another tempo over the course of a bar without getting a count in, like that's some next level. Like you got to be tight.
All I have to say is shout out to Canada.
no, we this guy loves Canada. We played with Wasting Time last year, and they were just as tight of a live band as you hear here.
See you
and,
soon.
And that's what I love to hear. I love to see the bands that are just as tight, if not tighter live, than they were on the album.
Amazing.
Like, I went to a couple of months ago, and I talked about this on the Maynard Gates episode last month, but I went to Snoop Fest in
Snoop Dogg?
in Lansing.
Yes.
I love Snoopy.
Yes, no, that it was literally a Snoopy themed
Oh
festival.
my God, I said
Uh,
Snoop Dogg and he said Snoopy.
Yeah.
I thought I was being the joke.
Clipboards, who are a Lansing band that
Quip. Yes.
everybody's been going crazy for recently. They are another band that are just so fucking tight live. Like, they have two guitarists, and there's a couple of times that they'll be playing like harmony leads, and it legitimately just sounds like one guitar because they're so tight in the way that they play. And I think that that's so rad when people are able to pull that shit off.
Next pick.
All right,
Oh,
fine.
you looked like you were going to say
I was
something.
just going to say
Final-
shout out to Canada. July
Shout out to
6th.
shout out to Canada one more
another
time.
shout out to Canada.
Toronto, baby.
Wasting time. Get your fucking ass down to Detroit and let's do this thing.
Fresh Finds Podcasting,
Thank
Cascade Riot, biggest Canada fans.
I honestly am. Great country. Beautiful.
Our next pick is by a band called Potion Cellar.
Final
Yes.
song of the evening. Potion
Final song
Cellar.
of the evening by a band called Potion Cellar, and we're gonna pick "Losing It."
They're from Grand Rapids, right?
They're from Grand Rapids.
Yep.
Good
And
dudes.
last year we wanted to get out to Grand Rapids and play a show somewhere, and so we looked up Grand Rapids bands, and we came across Potion Cellar, and we're like, these guys are sick.
Yeah.
You know. So and this song was actually they filmed a music video for this song at the show we played with them,
Oh, that's sick as hell.
Let's
and
name
is that
drop
out yet?
Al.
and well, actually I'm in there too.
Yeah.
Nice.
So a couple of us are in the music video they shot for this song, and it's called "Losing It," and it's a great song. And here it is.
Here it is.
Never really know what's going on. Everyone else my age doesn't have much trouble moving along. Never quite sure what I'm doing here. As soon as a problem solved, another one appeared. What would you say to me if you found out I was faking it this whole time? So what would you say to me if you found out I was actually losing my mind? Never understand what you say to me. The conversation carries on while I watch quietly. Never read the room quite properly.
Noise.
There's so many things I love about that. And like I like that we kind of ended it on a slow jam. Brought it down
Yeah.
a little bit there at the end.
It was premeditated.
I just want to say, like, I've had the pleasure of seeing them live, but like they're doing the state proud, so that's good tunes right there, brother.
For sure.
So when we played with them in Grand Rapids, so what happened there? What happened? I broke a string on my guitar.
Yeah,
And I didn't have a
you know.
backup, and their
Okay.
guitar player let me use his guitar
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
rest of the
nice.
show. So shout out.
Shout out, but
Just one of the realest guys.
One of the
But
realest
still,
guys I've
good
ever met
guys,
in my life.
Good guys, good music. So what else do you want?
I think that it's really cool. Like the articulation on that bass is awesome. Like the
Don't get me started.
I want you to get started.
Get started.
That's what a
You're-
fucking
Bass geek
podcast
out.
is about, dude.
appreciated.
My
That's all
man-
I have to say.
my man's feeling a certain kind of way
I'm
over
fucking
here.
fired up, brother.
But like that's one of the things that I love is I love being able to hear like the pluck in the articulation. I love
Exactly.
I love being able to hear the fingers on the strings
Yeah,
on the bass.
percussiveness.
If your
Yeah.
band doesn't have a good rhythm section, you don't got shit. So
Like especially when you lock in with the drummer with that kind of like crazy articulation,
Shout
like
out to
it
Al.
really it kind of is like a percussion element almost.
exactly.
I think bass and drums are. I mean, if you look at every genre of music, almost all of them have bass and drums
Yeah.
in them. Not all of them have guitar. We're not important. We're just the like
I mean-
icing.
Boy, do I
we're
know
just
it.
we're just the prettiness on top.
But see,
We
like,
just
if
look
you
at
You
it.
have-
are very pretty.
the best way to put it. Hey. The best way to put it. The bass and the drums are the cake. These two guys right
We're
here.
the frosting,
They're
baby.
the frosting.
Yeah.
Without the frosting,
Oh, for sure.
you don't got shit.
But you know what?
So-
Like
With
this
a
song in
sweetness.
particular, the
Sweetness.
chorus just has such a big hook too. It's like
Yeah.
da-na-na-na.
Well, that's the sprinkles.
It's like some stadium rock type,
Yes.
type shit.
Sprinkles.
Like
Yeah.
like
you
they're
know, the
they're
writing.
playing small
writing on
clubs
top.
and stuff
Right
right
on
now,
top.
but they
Happy
belong to be
birthday,
going
Bev.
on like
Oh, they
stadium
belong in
tours and stuff.
exactly.
Like I also just love the twangy little leads at the end too.
Yes.
Like there's something that I love about like the little like bend up to a note and then have another note that complements it, so you're like bending into the harmony or like bending
Yes.
into the unison. Because that's something that I just learning a different song recently was this little like unison bend thing where you like play one note and then you bend up to that same note on the next string up.
Yes.
And I can't stop doing it because it just sounds so cool.
It's
You
just
do-
so satisfying.
yeah, you do
Right?
that little unison bend, and it just feels so right. I love it.
And that just like brought me to another thing.
All right,
talking
yeah.
about like, I mean, this is completely unrelated, sort
Go,
of.
go off.
I think the Beatles do it a few times in some of their songs.
Okay.
And so does Brian May of Queen.
Yep.
They'll like bend the string and then pluck it and then like release the bend so it goes down into
Yeah.
and that's like such a unique sound that I feel like is not used enough in music.
It's cold out here.
It's a little chilly.
Well, it's about time to wrap up. So,
Yeah.
unless anybody has anything else to say
We're about to
the
hold
song,
each other tight.
We're about to go to Barcade, maybe
Barcade.
We just wanted to say
play some pinball.
thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
It's been great.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks,
Is
Ryan.
there anything else that you guys want to mention as far as shows or
Yeah.
upcoming music to look out for?
June 29th, the Logger House.
Logger House, their next one.
July 6th, if you have a passport or enhanced ID in Michigan, cross the border and go to the Bovine
Yeah, check out
Sex
Toronto for the weekend. We'll be there. Come,
And-
let us know if you're there. We'll meet up, hang out.
And
Buy some merch.
Which-
Support these guys
I
so
speak
they
for
can
all
keep
of
doing
us.
this shit.
I speak for all of us. The new shit, we can't wait.
Yeah,
So,
we're working our asses off trying to get this new shit together, and we want to release it as soon as possible. Obviously, we will when it's ready.
Hopefully by the end of the year.
keep your eyes and ears
That's our
open.
goal.
New stuff coming, and I would say it's a safe bet we will have a new single out at some point during the summer.
Coming months. Yeah.
All right.
Coming months.
This has been the Fresh Finds Podcast, the show about discovering new music with good people.
I was drifting off Someone